Studio 61, powered by Vantage TV by Frontier.
We all say it. Can you believe how fast time is flying by this summer? We are already in August, meaning that the year is more than half over. So where do your finances stand and what do you need to work on? Here to check the pulse on 2017 finances, we have Paul Schatz from Heritage Capital back with us. Good morning.
Good to see you.
When you talk about finances, there's obviously a lot to consider, but what should people know about that mid-year check-in?
So most people wait until the last week of the year,
right,
and they say, oh, geez, the year is over. What do? I did nothing all year. All my planning went out the window. So the year's a little more than half over. The summer, it's quiet. It's the perfect time to kind of take stock of where you are.
And how should we do that? What should we be checking when we're taking stock?
There's an awful lot of things you should check. So number one, people should at least once, if not twice a year, take a financial inventory. Figure out what you have, all the things you have, put it on a spreadsheet. You don't have a spreadsheet, take a pencil and a pen, or a pen, put it on a piece of paper, hold on to it. That's really important. You have to know where you stand. God forbid something happens to you, your family's going to know.
What about the credit report? Because that's kind of a way to gauge as well.
So I just had this happen to me. People who don't run their credit report at least once a year risk having somebody else using your credit. It just happened to me with a Best Buy card through Citi. So, fourth time we've had fraud. You've got to check your credit report. If nothing else, make sure there aren't any old accounts that have small balances you didn't know about that keep dinging your credit score a little bit at a time from an old apartment, an old house, something else. Or worst case, if someone is using your credit card or your identity, it's going to show up in your credit score.
And what too about that credit card debt? Because that also shows up on your credit report. If you fail to pay, how much you're carrying, what the percentage is of what your debt is.
You can't just pay the minimum amount they write on the statement. That, to me, that's financial lunacy. It's the middle of the year. You've got to have a plan. Look, we've got, 4.5 months till the holidays begin. You're going to want to buy your family and friends gifts.
Right.
You got to start bringing down that credit card debt, if only a little bit more than you're paying right now. But you've got to start. That's where that financial anchor gets around your neck, and you can never get back above water.
Yeah, it just gets to be too overwhelming. Let's talk about 401k and retirement accounts.
My favorite topic.
Right. It's always, I just remember, mom and dad saying, you pay yourself first. You contribute to the 401k, the savings account, do all of that. Where should we be checking in with the 401k?
Retirement is maybe it's the only thing you can't borrow for. You can borrow for your house and education, and you can borrow for your kid's wedding. You can't borrow for retirement. You've got to start with the 401k. So a couple things. Number one is, at the beginning of the year, you set an allocation, X amount to stocks, X amount to bonds. Stocks have gone up more than bonds, so that allocation is a little bit out of whack. You want to rebalance it back to where you had it on January 1. Very, very important.
Okay.
Also, middle of the year, if you have a little bit extra money, even if it's $5 a pay period, increase your 401k allocation, the money they take out of your paycheck, and put it into your 401k. It will pay huge dividends over the long term.
And not to mention, it could even help you when you're going to do your taxes if you're putting that money toward your 401k.
So if you have a regular 401k, then yes, you're going to get that tax break. And if you have a Roth 401k, you've already paid taxes on it. But then at retirement, you have no taxes due. It's a win-win either way. Must do.
Okay, a lot has been going on with the stock market. We've actually been seeing some gains. We saw the Dow go up, it's reaching, record levels. What do people need to know about the markets? And is this a time, should they change anything? Should they invest? Should they pull stuff out? What's going on?
Dow's hitting all-time highs. I sat here 7 months ago, and I said, look, we're going to 23,000 probably by the end of the year. I still have that. Maybe it's first quarter of next year. I don't think the average person at this point has to worry about the bull market ending.
Okay.
I think we're on stable, solid footing. We are long overdue for a high single-digit pullback. The biggest thing out there they should worry about is the German election on September 24th.
Okay.
That, to me, is the most important big-picture geopolitical event of the last 20 years. That one can have huge long-term implications around the world and here. But the average individual investor is not going to be nimble enough to, quote-unquote, trade that event. Right now, stick with quality. Don't reach. If you need to own bonds for income, do not reach for higher interest right now. The bond market's had a rally. I think people stay tight, be patient. There's some summer volatility on its way with North Korea. Everything is okay on balance, at least into 2018.
And last question for you. You know, we talked a little bit about interest rates as well. We're seeing them slowly go up a little bit. Should people be concerned about those higher rates and how they seem to be increasing?
So it depends upon what kind of investor you are. If you're a retiree, you may finally get CDs in the 1.5% to 2% range in the next couple of months. So when rates go up, it's typically because the economy is a little hot. It's not the case now. The economy is stronger than it's been for the past 8 years and getting a little bit stronger. And I think the next quarter, the economy will be a little bit stronger than that. But the Fed raising rates right now, I'm not worried. The big mistake the Fed could make is continuing to push the envelope and raise rates more rapidly into 2018. The Fed has an almost $5 trillion balance sheet. They printed all this money after the crisis. So the risk is they're going to start to reduce that balance sheet. It's all nonsense to the individual person. What you have to know is it's less money in the system. So on balance, that's a slight negative, especially if the Fed pushes on that envelope in 2018.
All right, Paul, thanks for breaking that down for us. A lot to know when it comes to your money.
Thanks for having me.
All right, coming up next for you on the Fox 61 Morning News, lots of music, food, and fun. We are gearing up for the